surface, players always like to play on a surface where the ball's moving quickly, and it's certainly going to be slick today. The wind has been gusty, but it's not constant, so it's definitely going to be something that they're going to have to deal with.
As Yale are going to play the ball immediately into touch here, as Mackenzie Marsh, one of the seniors who picked up an injury early on, or actually, excuse me, a couple of weeks ago for that matter, comes off, and second straight year that a Yale senior has to play the ball straight into touches. Unfortunately, Brian, this Bulldogs senior class has really been riddled by injuries.
Yeah, they've really struggled with injuries, and key players and leaders, goal scorers, the captain, and considering what they've what they've had to kind of endure, they've done well this season, but it's difficult because depth is always so important in college. There's so many games in such a short time, so to have a deep squad is really important, and they've really not had that this year. So I think that, as we said, they're going to want to finish in a way that that's an upbeat kind of statement for the program.
No doubt, and when you look at how these two teams actually have matched up over the last couple of years, the games have gone in favor of Yale. Last couple of seasons, both dramatic late victories, including last year over the Rocco Comissio Stadium in Manhattan. It was a 90th minute goal from Ariel Chavrin. She holds that one up for Christy Wharton. Her shot gets blocked down, and it'll be the first corner to come here. The Bulldogs looking early to try to get forward.
Yeah, I think it'll be important for Yale if they can get on the scoreboard. They really struggled in front of goal on Wednesday, so if they can get a goal today, that will really lift them, I think.
It'll be Wharton to play it here from the near side, right on the keeper, and Sophie Whitehouse, the one that easily claimed that one. It's a senior from Washington, D.C. Whitehouse, a goals against of 1.2 on the season. It's a comfortable player in net. Last year, this Columbia team was really one of the best in the region. They did not give up a goal in conference play until that Chavrin strike. They did not give up a goal after that point as well. 6 shutouts in conference play, which is something really unheard of. That ball played out wide. Columbia attacking the goal off to our right. It's a ball to the near side. Amaris Hemmings playing that one forward, but Gianna Pitaro, who's the change in for Mackenzie Marsh, will get it here to the near side. Emily Chlorite, good tackle, and wins that one away. Chlorite's come on really strong over the last couple of matches, riddled with injuries at the beginning of the season, but the former Choate Hall product really come on strong and now earns a start.
So Coach Meredith mentioned to us before the game that he really wants to press up high on this Columbia defense and force them to play long. And you can see when the goalkeeper had the ball to begin the play, they're not giving them any room to throw the ball out. So we'll see if Yale can kind of take care of the other end of the field, because if you're going to press high, then you've got to deal with a lot of long balls, and we'll see if they're ready to do that.
Of course, also on a day like today as well, when you have the wind into that too, you never know really it's going to be blowing and swirling on a day like today. That's a great little one too. Maddie Tamaris has gotten herself forward a shot. What a save there by Maritza Grillo. Her first action comes up with a remarkable stop.
It's a good stop by Grillo. It's some poor defending by the central defenders there. They both got pulled across to the left and left an avenue for the Columbia player to just run straight through the middle. But good job by Grillo, because that wasn't an easy shot to save.
Yeah, Grillo has only played one match this season, mind you. She's getting the start here for Senior Day. And well, Rudy Meredith having his 1 and his 2 really on the bench and hoping that moments like that wouldn't happen. But how about that on your Senior Day, Grillo coming up with the stop? Certainly that's going to give a little bit of a boost to the Yale team as well. Though it's another giveaway. This is Hemmings with Schildkraut, who's going to be sitting in just behind the attackers. That ball intended for Emma Anderson, and it's played away. Catherine Koritz, the number 7, freshman out of Fairfax, Virginia, trying to help that on. Yale will just clear it to the side, or at least Alexandra McCraven was looking that way, but play stays on here. Little ball into the feet of Anderson in a wrestling match, and Noelle Higginson able to carry that one out. And Brian, when you look at Higginson, this is a player that really struggled in the match against Sacred Heart. Had a lot of possession, but in the wrong places. She needs to get herself forward and into the attack.
Yeah, Noelle's she's played a lot this season. She's probably, I would guess, has probably played more minutes than anybody.
It's another shot from distance and another save from Grillo. I'm not sure if she knew where she was, but able to paw it to the far side into the area for Anderson. And the header goes wide and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, just to finish that point on Higginson, she's played a lot, and she looks like on Wednesday she looked a little bit fatigued, so hopefully she'll bounce back today. But this is a decent effort from distance, and you're right, Grillo, when you're not sure as a goalkeeper, you do what's expedient and you just get the ball out, and that's what she did. So, but she's been tested a couple of times, and it'll be curious to see if Coach Meredith is going to stick with Grillo because, you know, like you said, his 1 and his 2 are on the bench right now.
But when you come up with a couple of saves like that, no doubt Maritza's currently feeling good about herself, and maybe she might say to the bench, I'm good for a little while longer. At least that's what I would be doing in her shoes.
Well, you might want to kind of come out while you're ahead. She's made 2 good saves, so.
I'll agree with that sentiment, absolutely. Former goalie myself, whenever you have the chance to take the shorter route on the day. All for it. That ball over the top and back to Gianna Pitaro, a first year from Central New Jersey. We have Hamilton, New Jersey. Immediately possession right back with Gracie Wall.
See already, JJ, an improvement from Wednesday's game. This Yale midfield is much, much tighter than they were on Wednesday. Sacred Heart had a lot of time to turn and run with the ball, look forward and slot passes. Today, it's very evident that the Yale midfield are pressing much harder.
Now, the one question, Brian, that I have for you is this. You've already mentioned the fact that's what Yale's game plan is coming to the day. That's a midweek game against a non-conference team late on the season. Could it also be a case, perhaps, a little bit of turning off at the wrong time?
Yeah, it could be. It's difficult, you know, midweek games, and this is a theme that I've spoken about before. Midweek games for Ivy schools, it's really difficult, you know, because of the having classes right up until, you know, your pregame meal, and there's the distraction of midterms and that kind of thing. It's just not the same, especially when those games come in the middle of the Ivy season.
Long run forward for Hemmings, but she gets knocked off the ball. I guess the one caveat is for Yale, they've had 2 non-conference games in the midweek. One of those was being during fall break, as this one played over the top, looking for Shavrin. She's gotten herself in behind, was put off a little bit of jersey tugging, but it will be possession back with Sophie Whitehouse. It looks like behind the play, Emily Chlorite is a bit shaken up. The Yale training staff has come all the way out to the Columbia bench, but Chlorite, despite the protests of the Yale coaching staff saying go down if you're injured, she's carrying on. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. It's the number 5 in white all the way here to the near side.
Yeah, I think she got hit in the throat there.
Schildkraut again, near side with Hemmings. But how about that for a response? Chlorite just absolutely cleans her out, and it'll be a throw in here to the near side.
Yeah, just a quick comment on the Alozi chance before. She was through, but the defender did a good job just bumping her at the right time and throw her balance off so she couldn't strike the ball cleanly.
Throw goes towards Emma Anderson. Oh, great turn that goes around Pitaro, but Pitaro slides it away. Schildkraut, she scores! The Ivy League Rookie of the Week comes through and gives Columbia a 1-0 lead inside of 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's terrific work by Anderson along the goal line there. Unfortunately, when the tackle came in, it got cleared right into the middle of the field. So we'll see it here. Anderson pulls the ball back. The clearance gets poked right into the middle, right where you actually don't want it, and didn't really give Grillo any chance. So good job by Schildkraut, but unfortunate mistake in the back for Yale.
So Schildkraut, second goal in as many matches in Ivy League play. And then for Emma Anderson picking up her 4th assist of the season. It was a brilliant solo effort, tiptoeing on the near side. That's exactly the start that Columbia would have wanted on the road.
Yeah, Anderson's got good size for a point forward. She can hold the ball up. She's obviously got good feet and can shield the ball pretty well. So that was a really nice bit of work along the goal line, because she actually beat 2 people before that ball came back.
Her career, that's her her 11th assist, 59th point in her career. Senior out of Bethesda, Maryland, was a second-team All-Conference member last year. Honorable mention in her first campaign, and actually earned the NCAA Player of the Week once last year when she had a hat trick and 2 assists against Wagner. That was a pretty historic game for Columbia. They won that one 11-0 at home. Absolutely thumped the Seahawks in that one. And yeah, when you have a 3-goal, 2-assist, 8-point game, which set also a program game record for most points, little doubt that you're going to be not named the league and Nation Player of the Week. It'll be a throw to the far side. Yale trying to press back here, and Bulldogs are going to make a sub. Fallon Sheridan coming in as Chlorite's certainly dealing with some discomfort right now.
Right, yeah, it looked like she got hit maybe in the shoulder or in the throat earlier on. So now the question becomes for Yale, what's your response going to be? Are you going to continue to fight like you did in the first 10 minutes? Or is this a situation where they kind of get put onto the back foot and now this lifts Columbia? My guess is that they're going to stay high, they're going to press high, and they're going to try and get this back as soon as possible. This isn't a game where they want to be trailing late into the second half. They really want to get back into this as soon as they can.
Good tackle from Hemmings, and she presses forward as one to the right and to the left. Showed that. Kiki Lobbin only half cleared it away. Now Pitaro, mind you, is a makeshift center back in her own right. Better on the outsides, clears that away, and that just shows how injury bit this Yale team is this year. Really one of their main cogs in the middle, Mackenzie Marsh, and they didn't have the services of an outside back in Brittany Simpson the entire season due to a preseason injury. It's been tough for Rudy Meredith to have his group go on and really form their identity when you have players playing all over the place.
Right, and that's exactly right, because when you have injuries and you're changing your lineup all the time, it's tough to get consistency. It's tough to get a rhythm. It's tough to really create an identity as a team. And so, you have key players through the spine of the team. You have Shavrin, you have Higginson. They had Mackenzie Marsh and the goalkeeper. So the spine is fine. But when everybody else is changing constantly, it's really difficult to establish a method of playing that you can have week in, week out.
A little bit of extracurricular with Whitehouse and Shavrin. And the referee's going to bring this one to stop as Amalia Johnson, who's trying to shield it back to her goalkeeper. And Shavrin took a little bit of exception to how that went down, as you'll see here. Just a little bit of a block clearance. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, not really anything going on there. I think Ariel just caught her as she stepped over. But I wouldn't, if I was the goalkeeper, I wouldn't make too much of that, because Ariel's probably not one of the people that you want to fight. A tough Oakland kid is, they probably want to kiss and make up here rather than let that escalate.
And look, at the end of the day, when the competitive juices are flowing, sometimes there's that rush of blood to the head moment. No doubt Whitehouse just had one of those moments. There was never anything malicious, no intent with that whatsoever. Shavrin's just given the right to go after the ball. It'll be Higginson now. Works it here to the near side. Christy Wharton. When you and I were mentioning about the injury bug, you talked about the spine with Shavrin. Well, remember, earlier on in the season, Michelle Alozzi, who's first team all-conference, missed the first handful of games, gets a start against Marist in early September, 9 minutes in, does herself with a season-ending injury. So there's been issues at the back with injuries. There's been problems in the front. I think really the only part that there hasn't been issues is the midfield. And even then, when there's been a couple of players graduated here and out, this is where the Bulldog team very much in transition.
Well, and that speaks to the comment I was making before about Noelle Higginson. She's had to play an awful lot of minutes, and as good a player as she is, it's really difficult to kind of carry the team or be one of the players that's carrying the team, game in, game out like that.
There'll be a throw here to the near side. There's Grillo held, so Pitaro just plays that away. Hemmings. Not a great pass, though, and Gracie Wall just gave that one up. Still being fought for, and Higginson actually earns herself a free kick.
So now Yale's got to think offensively. So now they've got the ball. When they have it in the back, they've got to think offense rather than just kind of being overly deliberate here. They're down a goal against a team that defends pretty well and attacks on the counter. They've got no choice really but to attack them. If they stay passive and stay off or play slowly, well, it's not so much play slowly, but play indirectly, they're not going to really make Columbia uncomfortable. So I think they really need to think about our response has got to be offense, offense, offense.
Player that's down on the far side of the field, so referee will just hold up play for just a moment. fact, the referee going to allow the clock to keep going for some reason. Here, Rudy Meredith all the way down below asking for stop the clock, and now they eventually do. The player just getting their shoe tied, which already on a day like this is rather challenging. So rainy, so cold, you can hardly feel your fingers. It was Emily Coe, the one that needed to retie the laces, and we're back underway. McCraven has that clearance blocked, and chance now again for Columbia to push. Maddie Tamares. Nice turn by Coe and returns it out wide. Chance for Columbia to build. A couple of players going forward. And with Anderson now back with Coe, and she'll have a shot from distance. That one always going wide and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Columbia's been good on the break here. They're comfortable playing 1-2 touch passes, and they've combined pretty well. And Yale's been able to restrict them to long shots, but as we've seen, they're pretty good ball strikers. So that, again, comes back to midfielders needing to close down those long shots and not take it for granted that they won't score.
Ball intended for Shavrin. Doesn't really have much to work with, and I've noticed, and I'll be frank, this is the first time I've actually noticed Sierra Ostrander even into the picture right now. Wearing the number 4 is a help. Oh, that's a late challenge, but the referee allows that to play on Schildkraut with a late tackle. Shavrin looking to go an end line. Well, now, see, that's interesting because the referee is going to bring this one back for a foul. Yale certainly looked to have advantage.
Well, it would seem to me that a player running at speed into the penalty area who's just beaten somebody already has an advantage. I really don't understand why he would have brought that back. Higginson does get fouled here, but Yale has possession of the ball, so it's kind of a strange call.
It's Mike DeFelice, the center referee today, and hey, you allow, you wait. I understand that. Okay, you give it a few seconds, but Shavrin looked to clear, gotten herself in, and the referee brings that one back. So ends up hurting the Bulldogs as that free kick gets cleared away. It will be a throw-in, though, here on the near side. Yeah, back to Yale in their attack. I'm only just noticed now Ostrander into the picture all the way out on the far side. And I understand you want another forward out wide, but Shavrin really has been in an island here this afternoon.
Well, and that's the problem when you play this formation. We'll come back to that.
Chance now for Anderson on a ball over the top. Left-footed effort right at Grillo. Yeah, I'll say this much for Maritza Grillo, who has not had nearly enough action in the last couple of seasons, let alone this year. 3 saves thus far against a pretty high-octane offense.
Right, yeah, she's done well. And to come back to the point about the Yale forwards, playing 3 forwards is great because you've got the whole width of the field. You've got offensive presence, but when one has the ball, the other 2 have to react. So when Shavrin has it, one of those wide players has to come central to help her out, or it has to be a midfielder coming to support.
Excuse me, Brian. Great ball by Cavallo on the near side. And Christy Warren ends up earning another corner kick for her team. Excellently done to get that ball forward. And now Yale a chance here to get the big targets forward and see if they can make something of it.
So Columbia's playing totally zonal.
Decent ball that. Yale still fighting for the second chances and cleared away to the far side. The player that was looking for the second scraps, Koritz, the one to defend it.
So we mentioned this before in other games. A team that is completely zonal defensively leaves spaces for offensive players to run through. Yale needs to really bomb their way through these spaces here and attack the ball rather than just stand. Right now they look pretty static.
It's another corner to come from the far side. Too tall for Shavrin. It's cleared away only as far as Fran Steele. This one clipped to the back post. Dangerous, and it's bundled over the net. Certainly the referee should call this one back for a foul. Whitehouse got absolutely hammered through by Shavrin. Now our officials are going to have a chat all the way over to the far side. And it is a foul. No, they're going to count that a goal. Yale celebrating like they've just scored here, and
Well, Yale's celebrating and Columbia's taking a goal kick, so the referee's got to clear this up.
Yeah, no goal on that, as now Yale just realizing for the first time.
So Chavrin goes for the ball. It's a foul. I mean, the goalkeeper has her hands on it, and Chavrin collides with her. I don't think it was any malice in it, but it was definitely a foul.
I was certainly about to look. I'm thinking, why is Yale celebrating the way that they have? The referee pointed to the 6-yard box and said free kick, and then all of a sudden Yale thinks that they've gotten a goal. I'll tell you this much, Brian, 17, 18 minutes now in, this has been a very weird match. There's been no flow whatsoever, and somehow there's a score in it.
Right. Well, it's going to be a game where it's going to be hard to settle. It's pouring with rain. It's windy. It's a slick surface. So this is probably going to be a game of attrition. So who can handle the conditions better? Who can make the most of their moments when they present themselves?
And the wind has really just picked up over the last 4 or 5 minutes or so. It's not raining hard by any stretch. Hasn't really rained hard since early on this morning here in New Haven, but it's not been pleasant for the players. It's difficult. If you want to play with possession, you certainly be best to play it on the ground, as Sage Brar is going to check in here for Yale.
Yeah, it's kind of blowy rain. It's kind of drifting, and it's just one of those days where you just, once you get cold, it's hard to get warm again.
Chavrin, a good flick on header towards Ostrander. Difficult skill even when the best of conditions. Hoof that right at Sophie Whitehouse, and it's an easy take for the Columbia goalkeeper. Well, if you're just tuning in here in the Ivy League on ESPN, Brian Tompkins is to my right. I'm JJ Duke. There's a goal that came 8 minutes in. Jessica Schildkraut off of a great assist from Emma Anderson. Then Yale have had a number of chances going forward. They've not generated a full clear-cut save out of Sophie Whitehouse, but there's been some contentious moments between Ariel Chavrin and the Columbia goalkeeper, with a couple of collisions, including one just moments ago, where a goal was wiped off the board, or really never was a goal, but Yale celebrated like they thought there was one.
So some good work from Cavallo and Brar there. Cavallo looks like she's energized today. I mean, sometimes she can be difficult to find in midfield, but I think, senior day often brings out an extra yard or two of pace and intent in players.
We've certainly seen good days out of Cavallo. Middle of the season, a 4-match homestand, as Chavrin again gets whistled for a foul. And Tracy Bartholomew down below us, the head coach of Columbia, certainly asking for something more than just a foul, asking for perhaps more like a yellow, as you'll see here.
She definitely grabs a hold of her, and with Chavrin, we've said this many times, how difficult she is to mark and how tough she is and how kind of unorthodox and awkward she is to compete against. But I think the thing that doesn't really always register is just how competitive she is, and other people kind of let her do that, and I think they really need to join in.
Yeah, because Chavrin has pretty much been going 1 against 3, and this time she actually earns a set piece here. The referee calling this one back for jersey tugging. Well, this is certainly going to be a good chance here. Well in striking distance for Noel Higginson.
Yeah, I think if Higginson gets this on target, this is one of those days and a surface where if you can skip this,
yes,
just get it to bounce before it gets to the goal. Now she's kind of close for that, but this is a surface where a rebound could easily come back out. So all she needs to do here is hit the target, and then they need to be ready for rebounds.
Yeah, you need to crash the box, really, if you're one of those forwards. Look for the second scraps. But it'll be Higginson to take. 5 in the wall for Columbia, but that ball always rising. And now, again, you mentioned earlier with the fatigue that Higginson has had. Yes, end of the season, but this is a player that's played a lot of minutes, maybe a little bit of fresher legs, a little bit better technique, a little less frustration in her game as well. That probably is at least on target.
Yeah, I think it was just a poor decision overall. I think she was trying to just drift it over the goalkeeper, but with that, I think if she can just clip that over the wall and let her forwards run in onto it, or let her teammates run in onto it, then the goalkeeper's got a decision to make. It's a tough ball to deal with. It's going to skid,
or, as you were mentioning earlier, just properly strike it around the wall, keep it low, and force the keeper to maybe put a rebound out into a dangerous area.
Yeah, I'm always loath to criticize her. I mean, she's done so much for the team.
Chavrin does a great ball, and Whitehouse able to get that in front of a defender, had Ostrander right there. I agree, and yeah, Noel Higginson, we almost expect really the best out of her on every day whatsoever, as Whitehouse certainly seems to be laboring yet again here. A little bit of a late collision. It's back now to Tamaris. Emma Anderson in the middle was screaming for the ball to be played to feet. So it goes out wide with Coe. Good overlapping run with Catherine Koritz as players into the area. It will be shielded out, but it's going to be a corner to come here so Columbia can get the target players forward.
So again, Columbia look very fluid when they get out on the counters here. 1 and 2 touches, and they look really comfortable transitioning from the middle third into the attacking third. And that's what Yale's got to really pay attention there, because that's where they could get caught. If you overcommit on the offense, you could get caught by the back door.
Low driven in ball, not a bad one at that, but Higginson, well-timed tackle against Coe. The Bulldogs not out of danger yet, not the best decision there from Higginson.
Well, she really had nowhere to play. And because Ariel Chavrin, who's usually the point forward, was beside her, so Higginson really didn't have much choice unless she just wanted to kick it out off the field. But yeah, looking at the Yale team, we've said this, and we said this was the look that we saw on Wednesday, is a team that's not kind of completely energized in every position. And if they're going to come back into this, they really need to lift the level all across the field.
Schildkraut, good ball to the back post, still on perhaps. Grillo just missed it. Ends up going behind. This is going to be a goal kick, as I think it was Coe there to the far side. All of a sudden just missed it. Let's take a look back at that last chance.
So the ball gets clipped into the far post. McCraven is too high, doesn't see the player behind her, and actually McCraven just gets a little poke on that actually helped clear the ball. It probably was a corner, but initially she got beaten because we always talk about when balls are coming into the box, it's man, space, and ball are your three priorities, and she was only looking at the ball, unfortunately.
Bulldogs looking to attack down this left channel as Brar will see it out for throw-in. Sage Brar, impressive first year, all things considered. 4 goals, 4 assists for the player out of Surrey, British Columbia. Not to say shied away from the later season, still very much getting used to the system, but no doubt for Rudy Merritt, this was a good find for him and a player to build around in the attack for years to come.
Well, players like Sage Brar and some of the other newcomers, they need veterans around to help them kind of play their way in and understand the structure and the methodology and, you know, how to play at this level. With all the injuries, and especially to key kind of older players, some of these youngsters are kind of having to find out. It's kind of like trial and error and kind of on-the-job training. So I think she has to get 4 goals and 4 assists as a freshman is very, very good.
And no doubt this is going to be an important offseason for her coming up as well. If she can really commit in the program that's going to be set up for her, I feel that her talent level is going to be going through the roof. There's a chance now for Ostrander. Trying to tee it back up, works it back out Jordan, but good tracking back by Schildkraut and clears it away.
Now here comes the transition, but Higginson saw that one.
And that's where, as you mentioned, head coach Rudy Meredith said that's Columbia's game. They will build in transition. They're going to look to hit quick. Very good defensive team, almost similar to Penn from a week ago for Yale, but Columbia might not have as much threat through set pieces or anything over the top, but yeah, still Higginson doing the job there, winning the ball. Now Jordan clipped that one in towards Chavrin, but the flag comes up.
Chavrin has just mistimed it slightly there. I was a little surprised Jordan hit that first time. I'm not sure that was a pass rather than just kind of a ball forward.
I think she was hoping, if anything, Chavrin was going to stick right to the last defender. Still comes away to nothing. Columbia will break to the far side.
Still like to see Kerry Cavallo get forward more and get involved with Higginson around the top of the box and in the box. We've said before, she's kind of hard to find sometimes because she kind of gets in a midfield pocket and then kind of it's not easy to find her. If you don't find her right away and the ball moves, it's not always easy to get to kind of read where she's going to be.
So right now it looks like how Cavallo is working is one of the points of a triangle with Sarah Jordan to the left, and now Higginson has dropped. And I've also noticed Fran Steele, who started as a midfielder, has now become another center back along with Pitaro. Yeah, so Cavallo, you're right, needs to make more runs off the ball, just be more active. Shavrin, and that's where you need, Cavallo just hesitates to run. Now she's in possession. It's another aimless ball from Jordan. Great hold of play from Emma Anderson. Now Rachel Alexander checked on a few moments ago. Looking to turn, doesn't really have much to work with. And Fallon Sheridan sees it out for a throw. And that's going to do it for Maritza Grillo, who checks off. Lydia Shaw also coming on. Alyssa Fagel will now take her spot. I'll say this much for Grillo. Might have been a little bit almost for Rudy Meredith, the Cole goalie. Just hope not too much goes in her way, but I'd give her credit all in the world. She did really well today.
Yeah, she had a good game. And I've said this before about Maritza. She is one of the most upbeat, kind of greatest people to have in your locker room. She's got a good perspective about her level of play. She cares about the team and her teammates.
Great ball, Brian, over the top for Lydia Shaw. Checked up for just a moment, and her shot was blocked and cleared away.
Yeah, people like Maritza Grillo are really critical to having good team chemistry because they're selfless, they work hard, they've got great attitudes, and they really rub off on other people. So it's really nice to see her get a little bit of time today, and then make a couple of good stops. So it's a senior who I think can walk out of here with her head held high because she's contributed a lot, even though it hasn't always been necessarily on the field.
Absolutely. Shavrin to the near side, and Brar has a couple of players with her. To the back post, looks for Cavallo, and ended up nearly getting it back to her team. And that was an odd clearance in the middle by Courts.
That was better by Kerry Cavallo because she's in the box. She's in somewhere where she can be dangerous and help Shavrin.
Cavallo.
So this is a ball where Yale's got to go pressure this. If they're going to stay high pressure, they've got to go pressure, not let her out.
Shavrin and Brar applying some lighter pressure, but Yale will win the second phase. Jordan. Flag will stay down here at the near side for Shavrin. Looking to go end line. Drills that one across, cleared away. Intended looking for Higginson, but now Columbia. This is where they can become dangerous right here. Trying to hit on the counter. Kayla Lee checked in at the last stoppage. But a bounce off of one tackle. Finds the feet of Malika Tomar. Under a quarter hour left to go in the first half, and Pitaro as well to win it back for her team. Brar looked to turn the defender and Gracie Wall, but just goes back with Amalia Johnson. Johnson was second team all-conference last year, part of that really stringent back line, one that allowed just an average of 0.8 goals per game. Koritz winning it off, a Yale attacker. Back with Anderson. Now with Alexander. Back with Anderson, but she loses it, and good tackle again by Higginson.
That's good work by Noelle Higginson.
And immediately Jordan gives it right back, and having a go at Sage Brar, looking for a better position. But Yale, still a bit of work to do here defending. Hasn't been really clean for them just yet. Now they go back with Fran Steele. Shaw. Looking to turn to the far side and has an angle against Koritz and ends up running over the Columbia defender. Now Yale with players ahead here. It's towards Shavrin. Can she run it down to the far side? Another tussle with Amalia Johnson. It will be a throw, though, for the Bulldogs.
That's good work by Ariel Shavrin there. She actually cleaned up a ball from Lydia Shaw that wasn't a great pass, and Shavrin ran it down. So Yale needs to create themselves a couple of opportunities. They've looked threatening a few times, but not really dangerous.
This will be a corner to come here for Yale. Oh, actually, Center referee overrules the assistant. I thought that came last off of a Columbia defender, but it will be a goal kick. Bailey Peacock to check in for Columbia, junior out of Marietta, Georgia. Gracie Wall checks off. Certainly, Brian, after the first 10 minutes or so, this match has kind of gotten back into a rhythm. I said it was a very weird start to it, but both teams have figured out the elements, figured out what the tempo could be. Give Columbia credit, though. They've made that midfield very tough to break down.
Yeah, and looking at the lineup, it's not realistic to think that Yale's going to get into like a constant rhythm in this game just because it's an unfamiliar lineup. But what you can expect is certain players to do what they do well. So Higginson, Shavrin, Steele, Alyssa Fagel, you know, the players that you count on for them to do their thing and just kind of find a way. This is one of those games where it's probably not going to be pretty. It's going to be a war of attrition, and they've just got to find a way. Columbia, I like their pressing. They work really hard, especially in this middle area. They're not giving Yale a lot of room. They defend close and they defend tough, and that's been problematic for Yale to really make that critical final pass.
And I like also its team. There's a lot of talking. I've noticed Anderson, who I believe, no, actually is out there on the far side. That might be the most talkative field player that I've ever heard, the number 22, the captain for Columbia, literally yelling at all three lines, but it's in an organized way. She's the key point from up top.
Well, players like that are important as long as what they're communicating is helpful and is pertinent. Sometimes you get people that are just emotional, but you know, if you've got somebody that is vocal and does understand and can motivate and can direct and, you know, and lift your teammates, but also kind of straighten them out when they need that, that's a real asset. I don't think you look at that kind of person as a coach on the field. That's a special type of player. It's not a coach. It's a special type of player. And, you know, you don't find them that often, to be honest.
It's pretty much what just a proper captain, right? Just being that leader on the field, that second coach. And also Anderson, fair play to her, really good player in her own right. 3 goals now, 4 assists on the season. Assisted the 8th minute goal from Schildkraut. Ambitious switch to the far side. Shaw gave a good effort at it. Catherine Koritz wins it. Kayla Lee looking over the top, intended for Anderson. That ball will stay in. Again, with the new surface that was laid here at Reese Stadium back in September, it's still rather slow on a day like today as well. With rain, becomes even slower. Nothing is going to be certain to go out of bounds.
Yeah, these artificial surfaces, they're great. They will let a lot of water drain through, but it has to stop raining before they'll drain. Otherwise, water can sit on top of them. As soon as the excuse me, JJ, as soon as the rain stops, this field will be bone dry within 30 minutes. But while it's still raining, it doesn't tend to drain through.
It certainly looks in the past 10, 15 minutes or so, it has stopped raining. I don't see much mist coming down. The ball's certainly pinwheeling anytime that it's moving across the surface here. But hopefully, maybe that might be the end of it. Certainly overnight tonight, it was not pretty. It was raining pretty hard. Gusting wind. Thought for a second, boy, tomorrow's looking pretty nice right about now. But weather's calmed down. It's turned out to be, well, still cool and gloomy, but it would have been a lot worse.
Well, it's been one of those strange weather days where, as you say, it's been gusty winds, it's been rain, heard thunder earlier, there was hail. It's just kind of that strange weather front that came up across the Gulf, and the leftovers of the hurricane meeting cold air. Now, I'm no meteorologist, but it's just been a strange weather day.
A pretty detailed report. I'll give you that one, though. I might be thinking of another career there, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think they want me on television.
It's Higginson now. What do you mean? You're the one that's telling me you have a face for radio. I think that's a lie. It's a stone-cold lie. As a throw to the far side for Columbia, coming up 8 minutes to go as both teams continually working into their bench. Sam Slusher will check in, a sophomore out of Portland, Oregon. Portland, of course, just becoming a rather hotbed in soccer here in this country. It has been for quite some time, mind you, but especially on the women's side now with the success of the pro team, the Portland Thorns. Got a good club team out there as well that they've inherited, Thorns, so I wonder if Slusher is one of those products.
There's a lot of good youth soccer and pro soccer in the Portland area.
And college too, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Portland Pilots. Merlo Field is still claimed as one of the toughest places to play for any visiting team. Be a throw to the far side. So we're Yale, they need to try and manufacture something in the last few minutes. It could be Cavallo now. Not a bad job, all things considered. Had a lot of players on our back. Looking for Brar. Cross will go out of play to the near side. Yeah, this is where if Yale, they struggled at this against Sacred Heart, the end product.
Right, and the thing that I think we have to kind of keep in mind, and the players have to keep in mind, is anytime you get wide like that, they don't often score. Yale doesn't often score off headed balls that come into the box. They're usually on the ground, and Cavallo hit that one about chest height, so it's, you know, it's not an easy ball to finish. I think if she'd have just skipped that across the surface, it might have given Bra a better opportunity to finish it.
And the really only likely candidate for the Bulldogs to score a ball from the air, that's Shavrin. She just came out a few minutes ago for Mia Grillo, who checked in at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, the other player, of course, Michelle Alozzi, she was a beast in the air to compete against, and but of course she's not available.
Alozzi earlier this season with an injury last year, 9 goals, 4 of them coming in Ivy play. Oh, so vital. And in fact, the last time that these two teams met here, it was Alozzi with 17 seconds left getting the equalizing goal. It was a Jenny Decker 93rd minute winner. I give Yale all 3 points in Ivy play. Last 9 years, it's pretty right down the middle. Yale 3 wins, Columbia 3 wins, 3 draws.
So Yale's starting to try and up the tempo a little bit now with these subs that have come in. But they definitely don't want to slow things down. Now this last 5 minutes, they want their approach to be much more aggressive and offensive and not quite as dilatory in trying to delay the game.
A bit of a underflighted switch from Amalia Johnson. Yale back with it. Brar does really well to keep it, but gives it right back to Emma Anderson. Now Kayla Davis, one of those substitutes for Columbia, works it to the far side. So it could be brewing here for Columbia with only a few minutes left to go in the half. And intended for Anderson, and Pitaro doesn't enough to see it away. And a foot race. Anderson knocks down Fallon Sheridan. It will be a throw for the Lions. 4.5 minutes left to go here.
Well, here's another illustration of the strength of Anderson. You know, having that big, powerful player up front that can hold the ball up and give your opponents problems. And Shavrin can do that, but it's just a different type of athlete. It would be interesting to see Ariel Shavrin play alongside someone like Anderson, because then you'd have a pretty potent kind of combination. You'd have your target player, and then you have your kind of improviser.
And even then as well for Anderson, you're mentioning improviser. That first goal that Columbia scored, that was a bit of improvisation with a little spin on the near side, able to tiptoe the end line and then send it across for Schildkraut to score. Not all target forwards have to be the ones that just stand in front of the goal and knock it down and finish. There can be some skill. Just ask Dimitar Berbatov. That's a foul, and pretty poor foul from Carrie Cavallo. The referee, despite Schildkraut taking it quickly, will want this one back to the right spot. Schildkraut again, her second goal in as many games in the 8th minute. Looking to flight this one to the back post.
Yeah, Columbia's put everybody beyond the far post, so we'll see where they float this.
They play it short. Rachel Alexander tending to go end line. Her cross deflected, and Yale get it away. Brar will nod that forward. This is Shaw. Only just has one attacker. It's Mia Grillo ahead, so does the right thing, keeps it on the ground out wide with Alexandra McCraven. That's a really ambitious switch. Only the best of the best can ping that one diagonally. So Columbia back in possession. 2.5 left to go, but that one played straight out into touch.
Well, and again, it's recognizing what you're good at and, you know, what's realistic for you. It's tough to switch a ball, for anybody to switch a ball 50 yards across the field like that. So play a pass inside, let the next player hit a 30-yard ball.
McCraven will just clear that to the far side, taking no chances. Be a throw. And Columbia, you know, at the end of the day, they really dictated the first quarter hour, so it hasn't been the best for them going forward since then. All things considered, though, they'll happily take that 1-0 lead into the dressing room. They'd love a second one. Anderson, unusual to be pinning it by the corner flag. That ball ended up going out for a Yale throw.
I think Columbia has played the better soccer of the two teams, but Yale has been kind of a nuisance. You know, Yale have not been easy for them to play against, and they've been kind of a nuisance. Now Yale needs to kind of assert themselves. They need to be trying to take the upper hand and find a goal. They find a goal, and this game's anybody's. Right now, we're seeing some similar kind of characteristics as we saw on Wednesday, where it's, you know, down a goal and you're trying, but I think they just need to really think a lot more offensively, even if it means knocking some balls over the top. They've got to change this. They've got to change the characteristics of this game, because right now they're not looking like scoring.
1 minute.
Jordan a lump one forward towards Mia Grillo. Good hold-up play ends up working out, and Shaw a chance here to run forward. Good look here for the Bulldogs on the attack. It ends up coming out to not much. Good step by Cavallo just to win it back. What was Brian mentioning earlier, this is where Yale ideally just have to get that ball up. They don't have much going forward here. Just Grillo ahead. Good little 1-2 with Cavallo and Higginson. Showed just enough. Now Higginson in 18 seconds. Pings it to the near side. It's cleared away. Anderson stayed on side. If she can latch onto this, could be dangerous here with only 8 seconds left.
7, 6, 5,
Anderson, well, it's a bit wasteful at the end of it, and that will do it here for the first half. But it was an early goal coming from Jessica Schildkraut. 8th minute. The freshman picks up her second goal in as many matches, gives her team a 1-goal lead into the locker room. Much more to